a webinar on computational aided engineering, that is called CAE, and we got a resource person, Mr. Apurva, founder and CEO of Aviation. Mr. Apurva has an ingrained name in the CAE domain of the country. Having trained well over 15,000 students since the beginning of his career, he has established Aviation with a vision of creating exceptionally motivated, skilled, and committed professionals. Being the static event chairman for SAE India Baja and SAE India Supra for 6 consecutive years, he has had an ample opportunity to train and guide students and team on behalf of Aviation. Mr. Abu Bapat has completed engineering in mechanical engineering in 2011 from MANIT Bhopal. After that, he has worked with Altair Engineering for 4 years from 2011 to 2015. In 2015, he started Aviation with a vision to provide end-to-end solution to CAE for industry along with best-in-class training in CAE and CAD. Mr. Apu Bapat also has a YouTube channel containing more than 100 videos on CAD and CAE with more than 11 lakhs views and more than 14,000 subscribers from more than 150 countries. At this moment, I would like to invite our speaker, Mr. Apur Bapat, and their team to facilitate the webinar. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And also, I welcome all the students who gather here for this event. Please make use of this event. We all know that we are in the pandemic situation, and we need to do all the academic requirement, including the internship. So, in that perspective, and also in that perspective, all should, if possible, do the internship in this company. And also, being an engineer, we all have the dream that to become an R&D engineer. Why? Because we know that if you are like a quality engineer or something like, it's like a supervisor's work. We just supervise it. But R&D work, research and development work, means we are implementing our own idea in order to develop a certain product. For R&D work, obviously we need the help of developing softwares like ANSYS and all other kind of drawing softwares. So in that perspective, please use of this webinar and ask if you have any doubt. You can directly ask to sir, and you can clarify it. And it will be proceeded with the exam tomorrow, and he will explain all the procedure for that one. Once again, I welcome you all, and sir, now the session is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, shall I start the session, sir?
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay, sir.
My name is Apur Bapat. On behalf of Team Aviation, I welcome you all in expert lecture on CAE, that is Computer Aided Engineering by Aviation. In this expert lecture, I am going to cover who we are, that is about Aviation company, what is CAE, that is Computer Aided Engineering, difference between CAD and CAE, why to learn CAE software, about Aviation's training and internship program, how to download certificate of attendance, how to register and attend Aviation internship online test, how to start training and internship program, general questions and their answers. About Aviation company. Aviation Group has 2 verticals, Aviation Services Private Limited, Aviation Element Simulation Academy. Aviation Services Private Limited has started in November 2015. We have our office in Pune, Maharashtra, In aviation services, we perform CA, CFD, MBD simulation for 600 plus companies from automobile, civil, aerospace and marine domain. With best-in-class simulation technology, we have completed 2300 plus industrial projects in crash, optimization, CFD, MBD, structural, etc. Aviation Simulation Academy has started in December 2015. We provide training in Creo, ANSYS and HyperWorks CAD and CA software. We have trained 11,000 plus engineers. We have conducted 400 in-house training programs in 320 colleges across India. Aviation has conducted 90 plus faculty development program. Aviation provides CA and CAD training to 400 companies every year. With India's #1 CA and CAD training content, we are the leading training institute in India. Now we will see what is CA, that is Computer Aided Engineering. Computer Aided Engineering is a broad usage of computer software to aid in engineering analysis tasks. It includes finite element analysis, computational fluid dynamics, multi-body dynamics, optimization. So CA basically is a gap between design and manufacturing. So once the design is ready, before manufacturing, companies perform virtual validation, which is called as CA, to understand the behavior of their design. Now we will see the difference between CAD and CA. CAD is about creating or generating 3D model. CA is about testing its characteristics using engineering method. We'll explain that with an example. Considering this as image of actual bridge or actual component, the virtual representation of actual component is called as CAD model. A CA engineer will import a CAD model in any CA software, create nodes and elements, which is called as meshing. Then he will apply forces and constraints, which is called as loading condition. Then using CA software, he will perform the analysis and get the results. The advantage of CA is you can get the results of different loading conditions without actually manufacturing the component, like effect of vibrations, life of the component, stresses due to dynamic loading. Now let's see what are the different numerical methods available. So there are total 4 numerical methods available: finite element method, boundary element method, finite volume method, finite difference method. Let's see them one by one. So finite element method is a numerical technique for finding approximate solutions to boundary value problems for partial differential equation. It is also referred to as finite element analysis. The inputs which you can use for finite element methods are loads like forces, pressure, velocity, etc., temperatures, constraints. The inputs and outputs in finite volume method can vary with respect to time. The outputs you can get from finite element methods are forces, displacement, stresses and strain. So we are going to discuss finite element method in detail in session 2. So basically finite element methods tell you from where exactly the component is going to fail, what will be the exact location of maximum stress, exact location of maximum deformation. It gives you the answer on exact point location. Then let's see what is boundary element method. Boundary element method is most often used as engineering design aid, similar to more common finite element method, but the boundary element method has distinction and advantages that only the surface of the domain needs to be meshed. Inputs which you can give to perform boundary element methods are loads, vibrational parameters, supports and constraints. Output which you can get from boundary element methods are vibrational effect, stresses, deformation. The inputs and outputs in boundary element method as well as can be vary with respect to time. So in boundary element method, we find out the results of what is happening because of vibration. See for example, noise and vibration. So what effects are producing because of noise and vibration, how much the noise and vibration are damping, how much it is not damping. So all these parameters on the boundary of the component is calculated using boundary element method. Let's see what is finite volume method. Most computational fluid dynamics software is based on finite volume method. The unit volume is considered in finite volume method similar to the finite element analysis. But variable properties at the nodes include pressure, velocity, area, mass, etc. It is based on Navier-Stokes equation, that is mass, momentum and energy conservation equilibrium equation. The inputs which you can give in finite volume method is velocity, pressure, mass flow rate, temperature, etc. The outputs which you can get from finite volume method is velocity, pressure, temperature, liquid mass, volume fraction, lift and drag coefficient. So basically finite volume method is used to find out the behavior of volumes on another volume. Say for example, if you want to find out the lift and drag coefficient of any component, then you consider that as a volume, and then you consider air as a volume, and then you find out how much air is required to produce the lift or how much air is required to produce the drag on that component. Or you can consider Venturi. The Venturi concept says that if there is a pressure drop, then the velocity will increase. So you consider the pressure area of the Venturi and the outer diameter for the velocity increase. So these types of analysis can be performed using finite volume method. Let's see finite difference method. Finite element and finite difference method share many common things. In general, the finite difference method is described as a way to solve differential equation. It is used in combination with boundary element method or finite volume to solve thermal or CFD coupled problem. Say for example, we need to find out how much stress is generated on airplane wing due to fluid, that is air. In finite volume method, we cannot find stresses, but we can find loads, that is pressure exerted by air. After getting loads from finite volume method, we use finite element to get the stress results. This coupling of multiple method is known as finite difference method. So let's say air is flowing over an wing, then we can calculate from finite volume method that what amount of pressure is being exerted by that air, and after finding the pressure from finite volume method, we can use that pressure values in finite element method and find out the exact location and values of stresses due to that pressure situation. So coupling of these two methods and getting the values of pressure is called as finite difference method. Let's start with what is FEA or FEM. Finite. Any continuous object has infinite degrees of freedom, and it is not possible to solve the problem in this format. The finite element method reduces the degrees of freedom from infinite to finite with the help of discretization or meshing, or you can say via creating nodes and elements. All the calculations are made at limited number of points known as nodes. The entity joining nodes and forming a specific shape, say for example quadrilateral or triangular, is known as element. To get the value of variable, say displacement, anywhere in between the calculation point, an interpolation function as per the shape of element is used. Method. There are total 3 methods to solve any engineering problem. Finite element analysis or finite element method belongs to numerical method category. Let's take an example and understand FEM or FEA in more detail. So if I want to calculate the values of stresses on this plate, then actually this plate will have infinite number of calculation points. We as a CA engineer create some calculation points which are called as nodes. Then joining those calculation points, that is nodes, the software creates shapes which are called as elements. My software or any CA software calculates the values of stresses, strain, deformation on those calculation points which are called as nodes, and then with the help of interpolation functions show the result on entire domain or shows the result on the complete element. So this is the way FEM or FEA works. The biggest question is, are FEA and FEM different? So the answer to is finite element method and finite element analysis both are one and the same. The term FEA is more popular in industries while FEM is more popular at universities. Let's say some advantages of FEM and FEA. You have a better visualization of failure location, lower down the design cycle time, decrease the number of prototypes, cut the testing cost, and you can get optimum design in much lesser time.
Let's see the discretization of a problem. All real-life objects are continuous. This means there is no physical gap between any two consecutive particles. As per material science, any object is made up of small particles, particles of molecules, molecules of atoms, and so on. And they are bonded together by the force of attraction. Solving a real-life problem with continuous material approach is difficult. The basis of all numerical method is to simplify the problem by discretizing, that is discontinuation. In other words, nodes work like atoms, and with gap in between is filled by an entity called as element. Calculations are made at nodes and results are interpolated from the element. From a mechanical engineering point of view, any component or system can be represented by three basic elements, that is mass, spring, and dampers. All numerical methods, including finite element method, follow a discrete approach. Meshing nodes and elements is nothing but discretization of continuous system with infinite degree of freedom to finite degree of freedom. Now let's understand why do we carry out meshing. The basic idea of FEA is to make calculation at only limited, that is finite number of points, and then interpolate the results for entire domain, or you can say surface or volume. Any continuous object has infinite degrees of freedom, and it's just not possible to solve the problem in this format. Finite element method reduces the degrees of freedom of infinite of discretization. The finite element method only makes calculation at limited number of points and then interpolate the results for entire domain. This is the reason why we carry out meshing. The next and the most important topic is what is degree of freedom. So the minimum number of parameters, that is motion, coordinate, temperature, etc. required to define the position of any entity completely in space is known as degree of freedom. In CA world, there are total 6 degrees of freedom, that is three translational degrees of freedom and 3 rotational degrees of freedom. So you can fix a model in total 6 degrees of freedom. Let's take an example to understand how this degree of freedom concept works. Let's take a problem that two people are standing on the ground, and the ground we are considering is x-axis, and we ask one person to run in positive x-axis, then we ask the other person to make him stop. If we want to make him stop, then he has to run either in negative x-axis or apply the same amount of force in negative x-axis. In the software world, instead of applying a force to counterbalance the actual loading condition, we can create a displacement in x-axis 0 for the first person. So if we have the displacement on x-axis 0 for the first person, then we can find the values of stresses and deformation on the string which is being produced because of the loading condition of the two people. So practically the situation is like this, where two people are applying force in opposite direction. In software world, we fix one position of a person and we apply force in another position of the person and find out the values of deformation and stresses. Based on degrees of freedom, you specify where to exactly apply the constraints and on what degrees of freedom you have to make that particular model fixed and free. We'll discuss this in detail as we go ahead of the sessions. So all of the elements do not always have 6 degrees of freedom. The number of degrees of freedom depends on type of element, that is 1D, 2D, 3D. The family of element, that is thin shell, plane stress, plane strain, membrane, etc. The type of analysis, for example, a structural analysis, a thin shell element has 6 degrees of freedom per node, displacement unknown, and 3 translational and 3 rotational. While the same element, when used for thermal analysis, has single degree of freedom, temperature unknown. For a new user, it is a bit confusing, but there is a lot of logical, engineering and mathematical thinking behind assigning the specific number of degrees of freedom of different element types and families. So we are going to see in more detail about the degrees of freedom in further sessions. Let's start with the general procedure of CA software. Let's assume we need to find axial stresses on any component. First, we have to find out the inertia of element. To find out the inertia of element, we need mass of that element. To know the mass of the element, we need density and volume. Density is a material property and volume is based on shape of the element. So once we have inertia on the element and then we apply load on that element, so we have original length of the element where the load is not applied. After applying the load, we know the change in length of that element. So if we have original length and change in length, then we can calculate strain. Once we know the strain and Young's modulus, we can calculate the stresses. So this is how my software works. So to know these values, you have to have a volume of the element. So volume for the element have to be calculated. Once you have the volume, you multiply with the software, multiply with its to density, generates the mass. Mass will have inertia. With the help of inertial effect, you can get change in length. With the help of change in length, you get strain, and with the help of strain and Young's modulus, you can find out stresses. Now we'll see what is element shapes and its characteristics. So in general, there are total 4 shapes possible: point, line, area and volume. A point element is typically defined as one node, such as mass element. A line element is typically represented by line connecting 2 or 3 nodes. For example, beam, sphere, pipes, etc. We use 1D element or a line element when one of the dimension of the object or component is very large as compared to other 2 dimensions. An area element has a triangular or quadrilateral shape, for example, chord and tria. We use 2D element when 2 of the dimension of the object or component is very large as compared to the 3rd dimension, that generally it's a thickness. A volume element has a tetrahedral or a brick shape and is usually a 3D solid element. We use 3D element when all the 3 dimensions of the object or a component are comparable. Now let's understand how and what options we have to provide, or what additional parameters we have to provide and why we have to provide those. Let's take an example with 1D element. We use 1D element when the component length is very large as compared to the other 2 dimensions, that is cross-sectional area. So let's consider a long steel rod. The length is too big and the cross-section is comparatively very small. So when we do 1D meshing, we create a line element. But as I already told you, we need volume. So line element will have length, but to get the volume, we need all the 3 dimensions. So additional parameter what we give to software is cross-sectional area. So my software multiplies that cross-sectional area with length and generates the volume. But my software will only give the results along the length. It will not give the results across the cross-section because there is no nodes across the cross-section. So if you want to find out the values of stresses and deformation of a steel rod across the cross-section, then you have to go for 3D meshing. With 1D meshing, you can only get the results along the length, not across the cross-section. But to generate volume, you have to give cross-sectional parameters. Similarly, for 2D elements, let's take an example of sheet metal component where the thickness is very less as compared to the other 2 dimensions. So once we do meshing, that is once we have 2D meshing on these types of components, we create area. Again, we don't have volume, so we give thickness. So thickness multiplied by area gives volume. And once we have volume, we can have mass, inertia effect and rest of the things. So my software gives answers on the area while you do 2D elements. It doesn't give you answers on the what is happening across the thickness. So if you want to get answers across the thickness, then again you have to go for 3D meshing. 3D element, let's consider a cube. You mesh it with either hexa element or a penta element or a tetra element. These all elements are 3D elements. They itself have a volume. They capture all the 3 dimensions. Nodes are available in all the 3 dimensions. So you get answers in all the 3 dimensions. So once you go for 3D meshing, you don't have to give any additional parameters to the software to convert that into volume because that element itself is a volume. Now let's see the 10 questions which you should be able to answer before start any CAE simulation. The following is a list of 10 questions you should be able to answer about any given FE simulation, that is finite element simulation. It is also a good checklist to bring along to presentations by others as a guide to assure all your questions are answered. If you have not or cannot answer these questions, you need to go back and understand why. What is problem you are trying to solve? What geometry you are using? What solution type you are using? What is your material model? What are your element selections? What are your constraints? What are your loads? How you are combining the loads and constraints? What are the results? What are your recommendations? So we're going to answer all these questions in the next sessions. So as of now, I would like you to write on these points, and in the later sessions, I'm going to explain you how and from where you get the answers of all these 10 questions.
Now we will see why to learn CA software. In every domain like automobile, consumer products, marine, aerospace, there are thousands of products, parts and assemblies. All these parts, products and assemblies are upgrading as per market requirement. Maximum parts, assemblies or components of products comes with guarantee or warranty. For any part, component or product manufacturer to give a guarantee or warranty, first the manufacturer should know what load this part can take, how much duration this component will survive. If in case it fails, then the failure location, what material is best suited for this component, and many more. To answer these questions, companies have only three ways: analytical, numerical and experimental. This is also called as design validation. So there are three ways to validate any design: analytical, numerical, experimental. Analytical is formula based approach, numerical is software based approach, experimental means actually manufacturing and testing the components physically. The advantage of analytical method is it gives 100% accurate results on simple component. The disadvantage is you can only find the results if you know the formula. If you don't know the formula, you cannot find the results analytically. It is very time consuming. You can't believe the accuracy blindly. Calculations can only be done on single points. The advantages of numerical method is we can solve real life complicated problems. Results can be achieved faster. Result can be achieved on entire geometry. Applicable even if the physical prototype is not available. The advantages of experimental method is physical or manufacturing errors can be considered in result. Actual measurements can be taken. The disadvantage of experimental method is it is very time consuming and needs expensive setup. Applicable only if the physical prototype is not available. Minimum 3 to 5 prototype must be tested. So because of the disadvantages in analytical and experimental method, more than 8,000 companies in India are using CA software to validate their design virtually. Now we will see Aviation Training and Internship Program. Aviation Training and Internship Program includes complete training on Aviation NCS Basic to Professional Training Program, Industrial Internship Project, Aviation's NCS Basic to Professional Training Program Certificate, Internship Letter, Letter of Recommendation, Experience Letter, Free License Version Software. In Aviation NCS Basic to Professional Training Program, we cover theory of FEM and CA, 1D geometry creation, editing and machine, 2D geometry creation, editing and machine, 3D geometry creation, editing and machine, static analysis, transient, modal, thermal, nonlinear, dynamic, contact, vibration, computational fluid dynamic analysis, fatigue analysis, and many more. All the participants of Aviation NCS Basic to Professional Training Program will get individual industrial internship project, which they can use as final year project. All the participants will get training certificate, internship letter, experience letter, and letter of recommendation. Now we will see why to join Aviation Training and Internship Program. If you join any CA training institute, then you have to invest in travel time and travel cost. In Aviation Training and Internship, there is no travel time or no travel cost. We provide online training program which you can attend from anywhere as per your own convenience. Most of the CA training institute covers 1D, 2D, 3D machines, static thermal model analysis, whereas we cover 1D, 2D, 3D machines, static thermal model, transient, fatigue, composite, CMT, dynamic, topology, contact, nonlinear, and many more analysis. In most of the CA training institute, there is no industrial exposure after the training, whereas in Aviation Training and Internship Program, all the participants will get individual industrial internship project to understand industrial process of working. In most of the CA institute, there is no study material, whereas in Aviation Training and Internship program, you will have lifetime access to complete course content. Now, how to download the certificate of attendance? After this expert lecture, open aviation.com. If you are an existing user on Aviation website, click on login, enter username and password and log into Aviation website. If you are a new user on Aviation website, then click on sign up. Enter your name, email ID, mobile number, password and confirm password to complete the sign up process. Once you complete the sign up process, then enter username and password to log in on Aviation website. Once you are logged in to Aviation website, you will be redirected to Aviation dashboard page. On Aviation dashboard page, click on college test button. Once you click on college test button, you will find Aviation Training and Internship button and Aviation on-campus placement button. Click on Aviation Training and Internship button. Once you click on Aviation Training and Internship button, then you will find a register button. Click on register button. Once you click on register button, it will open the registration form in college code. Enter the college code shared by Team Aviation to your college TPO, HOD or faculty. Then enter your college name, degree, year, branch and semester and click on register to complete the registration process. Once you complete the registration process, you will be redirected to Aviation Training and Internship page. On that, you will find click here to download the attendance certificate for attending online live expert lecture button. Click on that. It will open a new web page containing your attendance certificate. We will see how to register and attend the Aviation's internship online test. Open aviation.com, login or sign up on Aviation website. On Aviation dashboard, click on college test button. Then click on Aviation Training and Internship button. Then click on register, enter the college code and rest of the details. Click on register to complete the registration process. Once you complete the registration process, then you will be redirected to Aviation Training and Internship page. In that, you will find complete process button and complete process video button. Click on complete process button to know the step-by-step process and complete details regarding Aviation Training and Internship program. Click on complete process button to watch the recording of expert lecture organized by Team Aviation. On the date of online test, between 10 AM to 5 PM, you will find Start Test button active. You need to log into aviation.com website. Click on College Test button. Then click on Aviation Training and Internship button. Then click on Start Test to start the online test. Important points. Aviation Training and Internship selection test duration is 60 minutes. You can start the test anytime between 10 AM to 5 PM as per your own convenience. Total marks of Aviation Training and Internship online test is 100. Total number of questions are 50. All the questions will be multiple choice questions. All the questions will be from general aptitude, strength of material and mechanics. Top 5 students from each college will be selected from Aviation Training and Internship online test. Selected students will have 100% free lifetime access to complete training on Aviation NC's basic to professional training program. Once you submit Aviation's training and internship online test, then you can click on View Score button to view your score on Aviation Training and Internship online test. Now we will see how to start virtual online training and internship program. After 48 hours, that is after 2 days from the test date and time, Team Aviation will send a mail from hr@aviation.com to all the students and college TPO, HOD or faculty containing the results of Aviation's training and internship online test. Team Aviation is conducting the Aviation Training and Internship online test to select the students who will get 100% free lifetime access to Aviation NC's basic to professional training program. Online virtual internship is a part of Aviation NC's basic to professional training program. We have covered the complete course content in 65 sessions. This is video-based self-learning training program in which students will get video covering all the topics, theory PDFs, practice models, homeworks and assignments with lifetime access. Students can complete one session per day and complete the training in 65 days, or students can complete 10 sessions per day and complete the training in 7 days. There is no deadline to complete the training. Student can complete the training as per their own convenience. Once students submit all 65 session tests, then the student can download training certificate from Aviation website. Training duration mentioned in the training certificate is 60 days, that is 2 months. After completing the training, student can download virtual industrial internship project, solve the internship project using NC software, create the solution report, submit the solution report on Aviation website then the student can download internship letter, letter of recommendation and experience letter. After 48 hours, that is after 2 days from the test date time, Team Aviation will send a mail from hr@aviation.com to all the students and college, TPO, HOD, faculty containing the results of Aviation's training and internship online test. Then open aviation.com, log into Aviation website, click on college test button, then click on Aviation training and internship button. Students selected for 100% free training on Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program will see Start Learning button. Click on Start Learning button to access Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program classroom page. All the other students, if and only if they want to join Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program, then and only then they have to pay INR 1000 as the course fees of Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program. To pay the course fees and join the training program, click on Pay Now button. Once you click on Pay Now button, then it will open an InstaMojo payment gateway page. Select the mode of payment and complete the payment process. Once you complete the payment process, then within 24 hours, you will see Start Learning button. Click on Start Learning button to access Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program classroom page. Once you click on Start Learning, you will be redirected to Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program classroom page. Training and internship process for students selected for 100% free training and the students who have paid for the training program is same. On Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program classroom page, click on Training Session button to access all 65 sessions. Click on Session 1, it will open 5 more buttons. Session Video. Click on Session Video button, it will open a new web page in which you can watch the video in which we have explained that topic. Session Test. Each session contains a session test of 5 MCQ questions. You need to give session test to unlock the next session. Classwork. Click on Classwork button, it will download a RAR file containing the theory PDF and model file which we have covered in the session video. Homework. Click on Homework button. It will download a RAR file containing the homework and assignment files. Comment. Click on Comment button. It will open a new web page containing the question asked by the students and answers. In case you have any queries, then you can use the comment button to share your queries. Once you click on Schedule button, it will open a new web page. In that, you can find in which session what topic we have covered. Once you complete all 65 session tests, then click on Certificate button. Once you click on Certificate button, it will open a form. Select the date which you want to be mentioned in the training certificate as the date of completing the training. Total score of all 65 sessions will be mentioned in your training certificate. Click on Submit to download the training certificate. Training duration mentioned in the training certificate is 60 days. Once you complete all 65 sessions, click on Internship Project button. Once you click on Internship Project button, you will find Download Internship Project. Click on Download Internship Project button to download a RAR file containing CAD model and a PDF containing the problem statement. Perform the analysis on the CAD model as per the problem statement. Create solution report, upload the solution report, then click on Submit. Once you click on Submit, you can download internship letter, letter of recommendation and experience letter. Duration mentioned in the internship letter is 1 month, experience letter is 1 month and letter of recommendation is 3 months. Click on Total Score button to check your score of each session. You can give session test again to improve your total score. Aviation Training Internship Program Complete Process. TPO, HOD or faculty registration on Aviation Internship Portal. Confirmation mail containing the student registration process and online test process will be shared to college TPO, HOD or faculties. Expert lecture on CAE. Students will attend the expert lecture and download certificate of attendance. Students will register for Aviation Training and Internship online test. Students will attend the online test. Team Aviation will share the results of online test with student and college TPO, HOD or faculty. Students can start self-learning training on Aviation NC's Basic to Professional Training Program. After the training, students can download training certificate. After completing the training, students can download Industrial Internship Project. Students will solve the Industrial Internship Project, upload the solution report and download internship letter, letter of recommendation and experience letter. Now I will answer some general questions. Students or college need to pay any amount or fees for training and internship? No. After the online test, top 5 students selected from your college will get 100% free lifetime access to complete training and internship program. If and only if other students want to do training and internship with Aviation, then and only then they have to pay the course fees, that is INR 1000. Otherwise, neither college nor students have to pay any amount or fees to Aviation for training and internship. The next question is, will students get any stipend during internship? The answer is no. There is no stipend during internship program. The next question is, for training or internship, does student need to travel? The answer is no. This is a virtual training and internship program. Students can complete the training and internship from their own location. The next question is, for training and internship, does students require laptop or desktop? Yes. We will provide a link through which students can download free licensed version of NC software on his or her laptop or desktop. Why Aviation is charging rupees 1000 for internship? INR 1000 is not for internship. All the other students, those who are not selected for free online training and internship program, if and only if they want to learn CA and NC software from Aviation, then and only then they have to pay INR 1000, which is the course fees of Aviation NC's basic to professional training program. It is not the charges for internship. Why Aviation is not selecting more students for free online training? Last year, we have selected more students for free online training, but most of the students didn't even started the training. Per student, Aviation has to bear a training cost of 1000. So based on our last year experience, this year we are selecting only top 5 students for free online training. Is there any placement opportunity for students after training and internship? Yes, Aviation conducts on and off-campus placement process. Students can attend the placement process, and if they clear the placement process, they can join Aviation company as a CA engineer with a CTC of 3.8 lakhs per annum. Thank you very much for attending the expert lecture. At the end, I want to quote, engineers can create future only if they can predict it and are prepared for it. So we suggest all the students to keep learning new technologies to achieve the goal. If you need any updates or information from us, feel free to contact us via hr@aviation.com. Thank you for attending expert lecture. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Dear students, if you have any doubts or queries, you can clear it right now. Okay, if I hope if no one have any doubt. If you have any doubt, you can mail him also. Now I invite Dr. Suman ma'am, HOD of Civil Engineering, to give a vote of thanks.
Yeah, hello everyone. Continuous learning is a process of life, pinnacle of attitude and vision of the universe. Resisting to learn or update ourselves is the biggest setback of an individual's progress. So it's our duty to update ourselves with and be in line with the technologies which are emerging to be a full-fledged engineer. I'm sure today most of our students have taken up something from this session and would be inquisitive to learn more from the software as well as from the resource person. On behalf of AJIT management, the principal, the entire team of mechanical and civil, I wholeheartedly thank Mr. Apur Bapat, the founder, CEO Aviation, for giving a detailed insight of CA software. I'm sure our students would be soon getting back to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. By this, we can wind up this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, students. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.